Hey guys, how you doing? It's SK here, and today Jeffery Smith comes out to give his opinion regarding the ongoing political situation in Uganda ahead of the 2021 general elections. But in the first place, who is Jeffery Smith to give an opinion? Okay, so born in 1958, Jeffery Smith is an American consumer activist, self-published author, and a former politician. He's the founding director of Vanguard Africa, a non-profit organization that supports pro-democracy initiatives in Africa. And so here is what Smith had to say in his words about the whole current political situation in Uganda now. He said, "This week, Ugandan security forces opened fire on the campaign convoy of Bobi Wine." If you don't know Bobi Wine is the leader of the People Power, Our Power movement in Uganda, which is in opposition of the ruling party, National Resistance Movement. Yeah. And Bobi Wine is the country's leading opposition candidate for president. The bloody images and video from the scene are chilling. They remain shocking even after nearly 3 years of relentless attacks on the biggest pro-democracy movement in Uganda's post-colonial history. Having the audacity to run for political office should not be the equivalent of death sentence. Sadly, in Uganda, this appears to be the case, he said. He said that when he first met Bobi Wine in 2018, he had been charged with treason and allegedly tortured while in Ugandan police custody. He said he recalls Bobi Wine saying to Smith, saying to him that, and I quote, "They are going to imprison us and they will kill some of us." And Smith said that this was right because it's happening now. President Yoweri Museveni has been in power longer than most Ugandans have been alive. His regime is sustained by the nearly $2 billion in aid it receives annually from the United States and major global institutions like the World Bank. Museveni's regime remains secure in power, in large part due to the welcome embrace he receives in Western capitals. Because of his long-standing and carefully crafted image as an American military ally, Museveni has repeatedly been an invited guest at the White House. His visits were as recent as August 2014, during then Barack Obama was the president, and U.S. Africa Leaders Summit, and as far back as 1987 during the Ronald Reagan administration. Uganda has often topped the list of the biggest recipients of military aid in all of Africa. And in May 2020, the World Bank announced a $300 million assistance package ostensibly for COVID-19 relief. The evidence suggests, however, that this money was likely diverted to finance the same thuggish security apparatus that is brazenly assailing Bobi Wine and his colleagues. This practice in Uganda has been documented thoroughly. In effect, U.S. taxpayers are implicated in the plight of Bobi Wine and of the overwhelming majority of Ugandans who clearly aspire to democracy and reject military rule. The money keeps flowing despite Museveni's obvious contempt for human rights. During his nearly 4-decade reign, Uganda has become one of the most repressive police states, not just in Africa, but arguably in the world. The US State Department readily acknowledges this fact in its annual human rights reports. The rule of law in Uganda has deteriorated in recent years. This reality now plays out daily on our radios, television screens, and across social media. It is time for Uganda's so-called development partners in general and the United States government in particular to stop bankrolling the repression. This is an opportune moment to kickstart the process. The incoming Biden administration, which will take office a week after Uganda's election, has made the promotion of human rights a key component of its foreign policy platform. Bobi Wine's current predicament and the pro-democracy movement he now embodies gives that promise for fresh urgency. First, Biden and his team should launch a comprehensive and prominently publicized review of all financial assistance to Uganda. Any humanitarian programs carried out by the Ugandan government should be redirected to third-party implementers, ideally local civil society groups, to ensure continuity of service to the Ugandan people. Importantly, programs that solely benefit the government of Uganda, especially military and security assistance, should be suspended until this review is complete. Second, only personal repercussions are likely to spur Museveni toward needed reform. The US government should start the process to ban Museveni and other individuals responsible for human rights abuses in Uganda from obtaining US visas and from participating in US funded programs. Similarly, any assets held in the US that belong to Museveni, his inner circle, or his family members should be frozen. Third, the Biden administration should be willing to deploy measures which can be seen as rather extreme in diplomatic circles. These actions could include temporarily but publicly recalling the ambassador from the US Embassy in Uganda to Washington for consultations while revised US policies are being finalized. Meanwhile, the United States should closely coordinate with democratic allies and multilateral institutions to issue joint statements that unequivocally condemn ongoing human rights abuses. The support for long-ruling dictators like Museveni has often been justified under a dubious banner of maintaining stability. We must ask, stability for whom? Clearly, Uganda is far from stable. Just ask Bobi Wine, his colleagues and supporters. Ask the country's battered journalists and human rights activists. And ask the family members of the dozens killed in broad daylight last month by Ugandan state forces. It is long past due for the United States and the World Bank to cease subsidizing repression in Uganda and fueling the instability that it inevitably produces. Until then, the Museveni regime will no doubt continue persecuting political opponents like Bobi Wine. While the American taxpayers will keep footing the bill. So those were the words of Smith, regarding the ongoing political situation in Uganda ahead of the 2021 general elections.
I say when a leader overstays in power, then a country is going to go to the dogs. I wanted to call upon the leaders to realize that there was need for change, peaceful change. As you know, we have never had a peaceful transfer of power in Uganda. And through that song, I want
Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're not done so. And I'll catch you on the next. Peace out.